El sol de mediodía golpeaba implacablemente sobre el terreno polvoriento de la subasta ganadera en las afueras de Guadalajara. Era un sábado de marzo, y Canelo había venido acompañando a su amigo Roberto, un ganadero que estaba buscando algunos caballos jóvenes para su rancho. El ambiente era típico de estos eventos, gritos y subastadores, el olor a tierra y animales, y docenas de hombres con sombreros y botas examinando el ganado con ojo experto en Canelo. No tenía intención de comprar nada. Había venido simplemente por curiosidad y para apoyar a Roberto, quien le había explicado durante el viaje que estas subastas eran, pues los rancheros venían tanto para adquirir animales prometedores como para deshacerse de aquellos que ya no les servían. Era el ciclo natural del negocio ganadero, le había dicho Roberto, aunque Canelo detectó una nota de tristeza en su voz cuando mencionó a los animales older que normalmente terminaban vendidos por practically nada. En la subasta había estado proceeding de manera routine durante más de 2 horas. Habían visto pasar caballos de racing, toros reproductores, vacas lecheras y varios potros jóvenes que habían generado bidding wars entre compradores competitivos. Canelo observaba fascinado la dinámica, el way que los expertos podían evaluar el valor de un animal con una sola mirada, determinando su potential breeding working capacity o racing ability. Fue entonces cuando trajeron a Esperanza en el nombre. Era ironic, porque la mula que entraron al ring parecía haber perdido toda esperanza hace mucho tiempo. Era una hembra de aproximadamente 15 años, con el pelaje gris oscuro opaco por falta de care proper, costillas visibles bajo una skin estirada, y una postura que hablaba de years de hard labor y minimal nutrition. Su cabeza estaba baja. Sus ojos parecían distant, y cada paso que daba transmitted weariness que went beyond physical fatigue. Esta mula ha trabajado en construction por más de una década, anunció el subastador con un tono que suggested this was más una formalidad que una genuine sales pitch. Todavía tiene algunos años de trabajo left en ella para duties light. Starting BDs, 50 pesos. El silencio que siguió fue telling. Los compradores experienced conocían una lost cause cuando la veían. Esta mula era clearly past her prime. Probablemente requeriría significant veterinary care, just para ser functional. Y su value como working animal era cuestionable o tibes. En el harsh economics de la ganadería, animals like Esperanza representaban más un liability que un asset. ¿Alguien ofrece 50 pesos? Repeated el subastador, scanning la crowd con increasing desperation. Es una mula solid. Ha trabajado hard toda su vida. Canelo sintió algo twist en su chest mientras observaba la scene. Había grown up alrededor de animals en su childhood, y podía recognize suffering cuando lo veía. Pero más que suffering, lo que veía en los eyes de esta mula era resignation, la acceptance, quiet de un animal que había given everything tenía que dar y ahora esperaba nothing más que el end. 40 pesos, offer del subastador, lowering el price. ¿Alguna oferta por 40 pesos? Roberto se acercó a Canelo y whispered, probablemente va al matadero. Los horse meat dealers a veces bid on animals like this cuando can't find otros buyers. Esas words hit Canelo como un physical blow. La idea de que este animal, que clearly había served humans faithfully durante years, podría end up in such a manner, le pareció unbearably unjust. Sintió una surge de emotion que no podía completamente explain, una combination de compassion, indignation, y una desire overwhelming para hacer algo, anything para change this animal's fate. 30 pesos. Call del subastador ahora clearly, desperate para make any sale at all. ¿Nadie quiere esta mula por 30 pesos? Sin thinking it through, sin considering lost practical implications, sin consulting con Roberto, Canelo raised su hand. 50 pesos. Called out, su voice carrying clearly across el auction ring. El sudden bid caused a minor stir, en la crowd. People turned para sí quien había made la offer, y algunos recognized el famous boxer inmediatamente. El subastador parecía genuinely surprised que someone había actually bid. Why más surprised still que la bid era higher que su starting price. Tenemos 50 pesos. ¿Alguna otra oferta? El silence returned. Nadie más quería esta old mula. Y certainly, no one quería get into a bidding war con Canelo Alvarez over such an animal. Going once, going twice. Sold por 50 pesos al gentleman en el sombrero. As applauses gathered, se extendió through la crowd. Canelo comenzó a realize what había just done. Había bought una mula old y apparently broken down. Había no plan para what hacer con her, y tenía no place immediate para keep her. Roberto lo miró con expression que was equal parts amusement y bewilderment. Canelo, ¿qué acabas de hacer? Asked Roberto, aunque su tone suggested they already suspected. La answer, no lo sé, replied Canelo honestly, pero no podía dejar que esa mula fuera al matadero. Después de completing el paperwork y paying por la mula, Canelo y Roberto approached del holding area donde Esperanza estaba waiting. Up close, her condition parecía even worse. Her hooves necessitable trimming desperately. Hermane estaba mated con dirty debris. Why have several minor cuts? Why scrapes on her legs? Q suggested neglect, rather Q active abuse. But cuando Canelo extended su hand toward her, algo unexpected happened. Esperanza raised su head por primera vez. Sin se había enterado del auction ring. Y looked directly at him. In her eyes, él saw not just resignation, pero también una flicker de curiosity, tal vez even hope. Hola, girl, said Canelo softly, allowing her para smell su hand before attempting para touch her. Looks like you're coming all me con me ahora. El trailer ride back hacia Roberto's ranch. Few quiet. Esperanza stood calmly durante el journey, seemingly accepting her new circumstances, con la stoic patience de un animal que había learned para adapt para survive. Roberto había agreed para let Canelo keep la mula at su ranch temporarily mientras figured out more permanent arrangement. ¿Sabes anything about caring para mules? Asked Roberto as they pulled into su property. Not really, admitted Canelo. Pero I'll learn. Why no veterinarians Q can help. That evening, después de settling Esperanza en una cleaner style con fresh air y water, Canelo called Dr. Patricia Vega, una veterinarian que había treated horses para several de sus friends. When explained la situation, ella agreed para que examine la mula al día siguiente. Based on what describes, said Dr. Vega over el phone, sounds like typical case de overwork y malnutrition. With proper care, most de estos animals can recover significantly, pero at her age, don't expect miracles. Esa noche Canelo couldn't stop thinking about la mula. Había acted purely on impulse, driven by compassion rather que rational thought. Ahora, faced con la reality de caring para un animal large que había no previous experience con, comenzó para wonder si había made una mistake. But every time remembered la look en Esperanza's eyes at la auction, Canelo había made la right decision. Regardless de los practical challenges al día siguiente, Dr. Vega arrived early en la mañana para examinar Esperanza. El exam tomó almost una hora, durante which la veterinarian checked everything from la mula's teeth, y hooves, para her overall body condition, y temperament. Well, said Dr. Vega finally, she's definitely malnourished, y needs significant hoof care, pero structurally, she's actually in better shape you expected. Her bones sound solid, her muscles, aunque atrophied, show signs of good underlying development. Why her heart, why lungs sound strong, so she'll be okay, asked Canelo. Con proper nutrition, regular care, why time para recover, she could live several more years comfortably. Pero, added Dr. Vega con una knowing smile, there's something else. What? Based on her build, her bone structure, why la way she moves. This isn't just any mood. Unless estoy very mistaken, she has significant thoroughbred breeding. And her background, her confirmation suggests she was bred para speed, rather que just work. Esta revelation was completely unexpected. Canelo había bought Esperanza purely por compasión, assuming she was simply una working mula past her prime. La possibility que she might have racing bloodlines hadn't occurred para him. You think she could have been una racing mula? Asked Canelo. It's possible. Mule racing isn't common, pero it exists. Why some de los best racing mules come from crosses between thoroughbred mares, why racing quality donkey sires, based on her confirmation, ESA could be exactly what we're looking at here. Dr. Vega prescribed una comprehensive recovery plan para Esperanza: quality hay, grain supplements, regular hoof care, gentle exercise para rebuild her strength, why monthly checkups para monitor her progress. Ella also suggested que once Esperanza había recovered physically, they might consider light training para see if her suspected racing ability was still intact durante las siguientes weeks. Canelo visited Roberto's ranch daily para check on Esperanza's progress. Slowly pero surely, proper nutrition y care began para show results. Her coat began para shine, her ribs became less prominent, why, most importantly, her demeanor started para change. La resignation in her eyes was replaced by increasing alertness, why curiosity. Roberto, initially skeptical about el whole arrangement, began para take interest in la mula's recovery. Sabes, it told Canelo durante una de sus visitas, there's something different about esta mula, la way she moves when she thinks no one está watching. Hey grace there Q doesn't come from just being una work animal. One morning, approximately 6 weeks después de la purchase, Canelo arrived at El Ranch para find Esperanza acting unusually energetic. Instead de standing calmly in her stall como usual, she was pacing y seemed eager para exercise. When released into El Paddock, rather que just walking around leisurely como she había been doing, she broke into una trot, then una canter, why finally, para everyone's amazement, una full gallop. Watching her run, Canelo y Roberto both immediately understood what Dr. Vega había meant about her breeding. despite her age, why losses de hard labor. Esperanza moved con una natural grace y speed que was unmistakably that de una athlete. Her stride was long, why powerful. Her form was nearly perfect, why most importantly, she seemed para genuinely enjoy running. Dios mío, whispered Roberto. Look at her go. After several minutes de running, Esperanza slowed, but I want to trot, then walked over Hacia where Canelo y Roberto were standing by la fence. Her breathing was hardly labored, why her eyes were bright con something Q looked suspiciously like joy. Girl, S-A-I-D, Canelo, reaching through la fence para stroke her neck. Where has this been hiding all these years? That afternoon Canelo called Dr. Vega para report on Esperanza's unexpected displayed athleticism. La veterinarian was intrigued pero not entirely surprised. Recovery often reveals hidden potential, she explained. When animals are malnourished, why overworked, they suppress their natural abilities para conserve energy para survival. Now Q, she's healthy, why strong again, her true nature is emerging. Do you think we should try training her para racing? Asked Canelo. Why not? She's obviously got LA ability. Why at her age, gentle training would actually be good exercise. But, warned Dr. Vega, don't expect too much. Racing mules compete against much younger animals. Why even con her natural ability? She's got years to where para overcome. Despite la warning, Canelo couldn't shake la feeling que Esperanza tenía more para give. Decidió para consult con Carlos Mendoza, una trainer Q had worked con racing horses, why occasionally con racing mules. When Canelo explained LA's situation, Carlos agreed para com evaluates Esperanza's potential. Carlos's assessment was even more positive. Q Dr. Vegas había been Canelo, he said after watching Esperanza run. This isn't just una mula con good bloodlines. This is una natural athlete que probablemente never got la chance para show what she could do. So you think she could actually compete? Asked Canelo. Con proper training, absolutely. Pero added Carlos con una serious expression. You need pero understand what you're getting into. Racing mules face significant prejudice. Most people see them como curiosities rather Q serious athletes. Why training takes time, patience, why dedication. Canelo didn't hesitate. I'm willing para commit whatever it takes. Why so began la most unlikely training regimen in recent memory. Every morning Canelo would arrive at El Ranch para work con Esperanza. Carlos había designed una program Q gradually built her strength, speed, why endurance while being careful, not para push her too hard too quickly. LA results were remarkable. Within 2 months, Esperanza was running faster why with more stamina Q mules half her age. Her times over various distances were competitive con professional racing mules. Why her enthusiasm para training was infectious. Watching her run, it was impossible para believe Q this was LA same dejected animal Q had almost gone para el matadero. But perhaps most importantly, the bond between Canelo y Esperanza deepened con each training session. She seemed para understand Q he había saved her. Why she responded para his voice, his touch, why his presence con una loyalty why affection Q went far beyond typical animal-human relationships. News to Canelo's unusual training project began. Para spread through local racing circles. Most responses were skeptical or amused. La idea de el famous boxer training una old rescue mula para racing struck many people como either una publicity stunt or simply misguided kindness. Let him have his fun, was LA typical response. When she gets blown away in her first real race, you'll understand why people don't take racing mules seriously. But algunos people were more supportive. Local animal rescue organizations praised Canelo para giving una second chance para un animal in need. Why una few experienced mule trainers, after hearing descriptions de Esperanza's ability, expressed genuine interest in watching her compete. LA first real test came cuando Carlos suggested entering Esperanza in una local mula racing event. Una small competition Q was part du in a larger county fair. La purse was modest, pero la competition would include several experienced racing mules while their professional handlers. Are you sure she's ready? Asked Canelo. He had become protective. De Esperanza why didn't want para put her en una situation donde she might be embarrassed or hurt. She's as ready as she'll ever be, replied Carlos. And honestly, at her age, every race could be her last. Better para let her show what she can do while she's still strong. El día de la race, una crowd considerable había gathered. Dragon, partly by curiosity about Canelo's participation, why partly by genuine interest in mule racing. Esperanza seemed calm, pero alert. Apparently understanding Q something important was about pero happened. As they prepared para la race, Canelo could hear comments from the crowd, ranging from supportive para dismissive. Lacots that old mula. She's really going para, try para race. Come on Canelo, show them what she can do. This should be interesting. I've never seen una mula that old even attempt racing. Cuando la starting bell rang, Esperanza broke cleanly from LA line Y. immediately settled into third position behind dos younger, more experienced racing mules. Para la first half de la race, she maintained her position steadily, running con una efficiency while Grace Q impressed even her critics. But then, entering LA final turn, something magical happened. As if she had been conserving energy for exactly this moment, Esperanza began para accelerate. Her stride lengthened, her speed increased dramatically. Why she began para close la gap con la leaders. La crowd's reaction was electric. Cheers erupted as spectators realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. Esperanza passed la second place mula con S, then set her sights on la leader and la final stretch. It became una genuine race. La lead mula, una forjador, con several wins already, was running her heart out. But Esperanza, drawing on decades to stored athletic potential, was matching her stride para stride. Con 50 yards para go. Esperanza took la lead. Con 20 yards para go. She was a full length ahead. She won by 2 lengths. Finishing con una time Q would have been competitive and much higher level races. La crowd erupted and cheers, why applause. Many spectators were moved para tears by what they had witnessed. Una animal Q had been destined para slaughter just months earlier, had just defeated much younger competitors through pure heart, why determination as CANELO embraced Esperanza. In a winner's circle, he could barely contain his emotion. Girl, he whispered into her ear, you just showed la whole world what second chances can do, but this was only la beginning. Word de Esperanza's remarkable victory spread quickly through racing communities throughout Mexico. Videos de la race went viral on social media, capturing LA hearts de animal lovers everywhere. Requests, para interviews, feature stories, while even movie deals began pouring in. More importantly, para CANELO, la victory had proven Unipoint Q went far beyond horse racing. Esperanza had demonstrated Q potential can be hidden. Q age doesn't always mean inability. Why Q with proper care, why opportunity, remarkable things can happen. Dr. Viga, who had monitored Esperanza throughout her training why racing preparation, was amazed by LA transformation. In all my years practicing veterinary medicine, she told CANELO, I've never seen una more complete recovery why rehabilitation. This mula has literally been reborn. Carlos, who had initially been cautious about Esperanza's racing prospects, was now convinced they should aim higher. CANELO, he said, there's una major mule racing championship coming up in 3 months. La purse is significant. La competition will be fierce. Pero, I think Esperanza can handle it. Are you sure I don't want para push her too hard? Look at her, said Carlos, pointing para where Esperanza was grazing peacefully. Does she look like una animal cues being pushed too hard? She loves racing. It's given her purpose, why joy, that she probably never had even when she was young. CANELO agreed para enter Esperanza en la championship. Para only con la understanding Q her health, why well-being would always come first. They increased her training gradually, always monitoring para signs, de-fatigue or stress, but rather Q showing strain. Esperanza seemed para thrive on LA increased activity. LA championship race attracted competitors from throughout North America. Professional racing mules, some worth hundreds to thousands of dollars, were entered, alongside their elite trainers, why jockeys. Esperanza, now almost 16 years old, was by far LA's oldest competitor. Media coverage was extensive, focusing primarily on LA's inspiring story. De la rescue mula Q had defied all odds. Interviews con CANELO emphasized themes decompassion, second chances, why la hidden potential Q exists in everyone, animal or human. What started as una simple act de kindness, CANELO told one reporter, has become una lesson about never giving up on someone, never assuming Q their best days are behind them. El Día de la Championship attendance was record-breaking. Many spectators had come specifically para see Esperanza. Rooting para la underdog story Q had captured imaginations throughout LA country. En la paddock before la race, Esperanza was calm, why focused. She had learned para enjoy la attention. Seeming para understand Q people were there para support her. When CANELO stroked her neck, why whispered encouragement. She nuzzled him affectionately, as if para say she was ready. LA competition was indeed fierce. 12 mules entered la race, including several champions why record holders. On paper, Esperanza had no business competing at this level, but as she had already proven, paper doesn't account para heart, determination. Why la power do una second chance. Cuando la gates opened, Esperanza settled into her typical strategy, running in 4th position while conserving energy. Pero una strong finish. LA pace was faster Q anything she had experienced. Pero she handled it con ease, her breathing steady why her form perfect. Through LA backstretch, she moved up para 3rd, then 2nd. LA lead mula, a 3-year-old champion, was setting una torrid pace. Pero Esperanza was matching its stride. Pero stride. As they turned para home, LA real race began. 4 mules were within 2 lengths to each other, while la crowd was on its feet screaming encouragement. Esperanza running con la heart. de una champion, began her signature late charge. One by one, she passed LA other contenders. Con 100 yards para go, she was neck by neck con la defending champion. Con 50 yards remaining, she took la lead by half a length. NLA final 20 yards. Something extraordinary happened. Rather tiring, Esperanza seemed para find another gear. She lengthened her stride even more, pulling away para win by 3 full lengths and record time. LA celebration was unlike anything ever seen at una mule race. Spectators wept openly as they cheered. Even hardened racing professionals were moved by what they had witnessed. Esperanza had not just won, she had dominated la best competition available in a winner's circle. Surrounded by cameras, reporters, CANELO was asked para summarize what this victory meant. It means, he said, his voice thick con emotion, every living being deserves una chance para show their potential. It means cuando we act con compassion, we sometimes discover miracles. Why it means age, background, or circumstances don't determine what someone can achieve cuando given love, care, opportunity. Esperanza's championship victory became more una racing story. It became una symbol de hope para animal rescue organizations, para older athletes proving they still had something para give. Para anyone who had ever been written off as past their prime. En los months followed. CANELO established La Esperanza Foundation, dedicated para rescuing older animals, giving them opportunities para thrive. Racing programs, therapy work, simple companionship, whatever each animal's talents, interests suggested. Esperanza herself became una ambassador para second chances, appearing at events throughout LA country, inspiring countless people con her story. She continued racing occasionally, always competitive, always running con joy rather obligation. Years later, cuando people asked CANELO about his greatest victory, he would always mention Esperanza, not because she had won races, though she had won many, not because she had brought him fame, though her story had touched millions, but because she had taught him compassion cuando combined con opportunity, could literally transform lives. Looking back, la 50 pesos he had spent at una dusty auction had purchased more una mula destined para slaughter. It had purchased proof potential exists everywhere, waiting para someone caring enough para recognize it, patient enough para nurture it. Esperanza had indeed brought hope, not just para herself, pero everyone who believed second chances could lead para extraordinary outcomes. Looking back, LA 50 pesos he had spent at una dusty auction had purchased more una mula destined para slaughter. It had purchased proof potential exists everywhere, waiting para someone caring enough para recognize it, patient enough para nurture it. Esperanza had indeed brought hope, not just para herself, para everyone who believed second chances could lead para extraordinary outcomes, pero la historia de Esperanza estaba lejos de terminar. Su victoria en el campeonato había sido solo el comienzo de un impacto que nadie podría haber imaginado. 3 semanas después de la carrera del campeonato, CANELO recibió una llamada que cambiaría completamente el curso de la Fundación Esperanza. Era de María Elena Rodríguez, directora de un refugio de animales en situación crítica en Michoacán. Señor Álvarez, le dijo con voz desesperada, he seguido la historia de Esperanza en las noticias y necesito su ayuda urgentemente. Tenemos más de 200 animales que van a ser sacrificados la próxima semana si no encontramos soluciones. Son caballos, mulas, burros, todos animales de trabajo que ya no son considerados útiles. La situación era heartbreaking. Un rancho grande había quebrado, y los acreedores querían deshacerse rápidamente de todos los animales para recuperar algo de dinero. La mayoría eran animales older, algunos injured, todos considerados worthless por los estándares comerciales. ¿Cuánto tiempo tenemos?, preguntó CANELO. En 6 días. Después de eso, van al matadero. CANELO no dudó ni un segundo. Vamos para allá. Today. El viaje a Michoacán con Roberto, Carlos y Dr. Vega fue tenso. Todos entendían que se enfrentaban a una situación que podía overwhelming fácilmente sus recursos, pero también sabían que no podían quedarse de brazos cruzados. Cuando llegaron al rancho abandonado, la scene era devastating. Docenas de animals in various stages de neglect estaban confined in corrales to small muchas without adequate food or water. Algunos estaban obviously sick, others were simply old, tired. Todos compartían la misma look de resignation que Esperanza había tenido months earlier. Dios mío, murmuró Dr. Vega mientras examinaba rápidamente varios de los animals. Esto va a requerir un esfuerzo masivo. María Elena los llevó por el property explaining la situation de cada group de animals. Estos fueron working horses para una mining operation. Estos otros were pack mules para transporting goods. Aquelos were used para agricultural work. Todos han worked hard toda su vida, pero ahora que can't work anymore. No necesitaba finis la sentencia. Todos entendían las brutal economics que determined de estos animals. Fate and CANELO walked among los animals. Seeing Esperanza's original condition reflected en dozens de faces, pero también saw something else, potential, even en their current state. Many de estos animals showed signs de good breeding, intelligence, why spirit Q hadn't been completely broken. We're taking all of them, announced CANELO suddenly. All of them, asked Roberto con shock. CANELO, that's más de 200 animals. ¿Dónde vamos a put them? How are we going para care para so many? I don't know yet, admitted CANELO. Pero, I know we can't let them die when there might be hope, pero algunos de them. La logística de rescuing más de 200 animals proved to be incredibly complex. CANELO tuvo que charter multiple large trucks, hire additional para assess each animal's condition. Why find temporary housing until permanent solutions could be arranged? The story de la massive rescue operation made national news. Videos de animals being loaded onto trucks, many clearly in poor condition, pero some showing signs de hope, captured public attention even more. Q Esperanza's racing victories había done. It's one thing para rescue una mula y turn it into a champion, commented una news reporter. It's another thing entirely, para commit para rescuing hundreds de animals without knowing what you're going para do con them. Pero CANELO's bold action inspired others para contribute. Donations began pouring in from around El País. Other ranchers offered temporary grazing space. Veterinarians volunteered their services. Why, most importantly, people began offering para adopt animals once they were rehabilitated. La process de rehabilitating so many animals was enormous. Each animal had para be individually assessed, treated para various health issues. Why slowly brought back para proper condition. Some were beyond help. Why had para be humanely euthanized? Pero la majority responded positively para proper care. Among lost rescued animals, several showed exceptional promise. There was Trueno, a stallion that had been used para breeding pero was considered too old para continue. When properly fed y exercised, he revealed remarkable speed y intelligence. There was Paloma, una mar that had been neglected after sustaining una leg injury. Pero con proper treatment y rehabilitation, she proved para have an exceptional gentle temperament, perfect para therapy work. Why then there was Milagro, a young donkey que había been born in el rancho just before la bankruptcy. He was small, scrappy, why had never received proper training. Pero he showed an unusual intelligence why willingness. Pero learned. Dr. Vega, now working almost full-time con la Fundación Esperanza, established different programs based on each animal's capabilities. Some were trained para therapeutic riding programs para children con disabilities. Others were placed con families looking para companion animals. Why unos few showed potential para various forms de competition. What we're learning, explained Dr. Vega durante a una interview, is que cada animal has its own unique talents y personality. When we take time para understand what each individual can do best, rather que trying para force them into predetermined roles, remarkable things happen. Esperanza herself became una mentor de sorts para algunos de los newly rescued animals. Her calm confidence y joy in racing seemed para inspire otros animals que were recovering from their own traumatic experiences. Watching her run freely gave hope para animals que were still learning para trust humans. Again, 6 months después del massive rescue, La Fundación Esperanza had grown from una small operation, focused on mule racing para a comprehensive animal rehabilitation program. They had facilities in 3 different states. Must they 50 volunteers. Why programs ranging from racing, paratherapy work, para simple retirement care, but perhaps LA most unexpected development was what happened con el small donkey que había been born just before La Ranch bankruptcy. Carlos había noticed que Milagro, despite his small size, had unusual speed y agility. He's not big enough para traditional racing, Carlos told CANELO, pero he might be perfect para donkey. Racing Cule is becoming popular in some areas. Donkey racing was indeed growing como una specialty sport, particularly popular con children y families because donkeys were considered safer y more manageable que horses or mules. But few people took it seriously como legitimate athletic competition. CANELO was intrigued by la possibility. You think he could actually compete? Watch these side Carlos leading Milagro para una small track day y había set up para training. Despite being only 2 years old, why much smaller que typical racing animals, Milagro moved con incredible grace, why speed. His enthusiasm was infectious, why his competitive spirit was obvious. He reminds me de Esperanza when she first started showing her potential, observed Roberto. Same joy in running, same natural ability. Training Milagro proved para be completely different from training Esperanza, where Esperanza had been older, why more serious. Milagro was playful, why mischievous. He seemed para view training como a game. Rather que work Q made him fun para work con para also challenging para keep focused. The first donkey racing competition they entered was en Jalisco, part de una traditional festival. A competition was friendly, rather Q professional, but there were several experienced racing donkeys entered. Milagro's debut was spectacular. He won by 6 lengths, setting una new track record para his age group. But more importantly, his obvious joy in racing, why his playful personality charmed spectators completely. "Look at that little guy go," shouted spectators. "He's having more fun Q anyone." After la race, Milagro trotted around la track like he was taking una victory lap, clearly enjoying la attention. Why applause? His personality was so engaging. Q people began asking when he would race again. Word de Milagro's talent spread quickly through donkey racing circles. Unlike mule racing, which remained relatively niche, donkey racing was accessible para families, why children, making it potentially much more popular. "We might have another champion on our hands," Carlos told CANELO after Milagro's 3rd consecutive victory. "But at this time we could build algo even bigger around him." La idea Q emerged was revolutionary, crear one of family-friendly racing. Circuits centered around rescued donkeys, why the stories de second chances. Rather Q focusing solely on competition. Estos events would combine racing con education about animal rescue, responsible pet ownership, why LA importance, D giving second chances, para animals, and need. "Imagine," explained CANELO para Dr. Vega y Roberto, racing events donde families can come para enjoy competition pero también learn about animal welfare. Donde children can meet rescued animals, why understand Q every animal has potential C given proper care. The concept proved incredibly popular. The first Esperanza Cup racing festival attracted ms to 5,000 spectators, including many families and children who had never attended animal racing events before. But the real success wasn't measured in attendance numbers. It was measured en los 47 animals Q were adopted at LA event. Los dozens de volunteers Q signed up para help con rescue efforts. Why los hundreds to people Q committed para supporting animal welfare causes. Esperanza herself, now approaching her 18th birthday, made appearances at these events, aunque she no longer raced regularly. Her presence served como una living reminder de what rescue y rehabilitation could accomplish. During una particularly memorable event, una little girl approached CANELO mientras he was standing con Esperanza. "Sinner," she said shyly, "is it true Q Esperanza was going para be killed before you saved her?" "Yes, Mia," replied CANELO gently. "She was very sick y sad cuando la encontré. Why now she's happy." "Look at her," said CANELO, gesturing toward donde Esperanza was peacefully grazing while children petted her gently. "What do you think?" La little girl smiled broadly. "I think she's very happy. Why other animals can be happy to see someone. It helps them Every animal deserves una chance. Para be happy, why healthy." That conversation, overheard by several reporters, became LA defining quote. Q encapsulated what La Fundación Esperanza had accomplished. It wasn't just about rescuing animals, it was about demonstrating Q compassion, why proper care could transform lives completely. That, as La Foundation continued para grow, they began receiving animals from all over North America. Some came from similar situations, ranches that had failed, racing operations Q had discarded older animals, circuses Q no longer wanted aging performers. Others came from individual families Q could no longer care para their animals. Para wanted para ensure they found good homes. Each animal brought its own story, its own challenges, why its own potential. Y mientras, not every animal became una champion racer like Esperanza or Milagro. Each found una way para contribute para la mission de demonstrating Q every life has value. There was Elena, una former circus horse Q became una star in therapeutic riding programs, helping children con autism learn para communicate trust. There was Ramon, an old bull Q had been used para breeding pero found new purpose como una gentle companion para otros animals during their recovery periods. Why there was Lucia, una mare Q had been abused but eventually became una demonstration. Horse para educating people about proper animal care. La impact de la Fundación Esperanza extended far beyond just animal rescue. Schools began incorporating their educational programs into curricula, teaching children about empathy, responsibility, why LA importance, de treating all living creatures con respect. University students studied their rehabilitation methods, leading para improvements and animal care throughout LA industry. Government officials, impressed by LA Foundation's success, began consulting con them about developing better policies para protecting working animals while ensuring humane treatment throughout agricultural y entertainment industries. What started como una simple act de compassion, reflected CANELO durante una major television interview, has become a movement Q has touched thousands de lives, both animal y human. But perhaps LA most significant development came when Esperanza was 19 years old. Despite her advanced age para una racing animal, she was still healthy, alert, why occasionally showed interest and light training. Dr. Vega had been monitoring her carefully. Amazed Q, she continued para thrive. At an age quando most racing animals had long been retired. She's remarkable, Dr. Vega told CANELO durante una routine checkup. Her heart is strong, her bones are solid, why her enthusiasm para life hasn't diminished at all. In fact, I think she might be eligible para una very special competition. What kind de competition? There's una international mule racing championship. Q includes una division especificamente para animals older Q 15 years. It's designed para celebrate la longevity, why durability de incurred for animals. Esperanza would be eligible, why based on her current condition, she might actually be competitive. La idea de Esperanza competing on an international stage was both exciting why daunting. She would be facing animals from around LA world, many of whom had been racing professionally for years, but she had already defied so many expectations. La possibilities seemed worth exploring. What does she think? Asked CANELO, looking toward donde Esperanza was standing in her favorite spot, observing LA activities around LA Ranch. As if she had heard her name, Esperanza lifted her head. Why looked directly at them, her eyes bright, why alert. I think, said Dr. Vega con una smile, she's ready para whatever comes next. I think, said Dr. Vega con una smile, she's ready para whatever comes next, y tenía razón. 3 meses después, en el Campeonato Internacional de Mulas en Kentucky, Esperanza, ahora de 19 años, se convirtió en la mula más vieja en la historia en ganar una competencia internacional. Pero más importante que la victoria fue lo que representaba Anne en la ceremonia de premiación, con Esperanza parada orgullosamente mientras le colocaban la medalla. CANELO miró hacia las tribunas, llenas de familias, niños y personas que habían viajado desde todo el mundo para presenciar esta historia de esperanza. Cuando compré esta mula por 50 pesos, dijo CANELO al micrófono, pensé que estaba salvando una vida. No sabía que ella iba a salvar miles más. En los años que siguieron, la Fundación Esperanza rescató más de 5,000 animales, estableció programas educativos en cientos de escuelas y cambió las vidas de innumerables familias. Esperanza vivió hasta los 23 años, pasando sus últimos años como embajadora de la compasión, enseñando a generaciones de niños que cada ser vivo merece una segunda oportunidad. Su legado no se midió en victorias o récords, sino en las sonrisas de los niños que aprendieron a montar en sus programas terapéuticos, en los miles de animales que encontraron nuevos hogares y en la comprensión de que a veces los 50 pesos mejor invertidos son aquellos que gastamos con el corazón. Cuando Esperanza finalmente partió, la hizo en paz, rodeada de amor, habiendo demostrado al mundo que la verdadera grandeza no tiene nada que ver con la edad, el pedigree o las expectativas de otros. Tiene que ver con el espíritu inquebrantable que vive dentro de cada ser que se niega a rendirse. Su historia continuaba viviendo en cada animal rescatado, en cada segunda oportunidad otorgada, y en cada persona que aprendió que la compasión puede transformar el mundo, una vida a la vez, al fin.